Good morning and welcome to the XM.com weekly market update. Joining me again is Peter Mcguire, the CEO of XM. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning, Andrew.
Getting into the Santa season.
Yeah, well, the Santa Claus rally, it's been extraordinary over November, as we've seen, and US dollar's been choppy over the last probably week, but before that it was just one-way traffic.
Yeah,
and have a look at that.
Yeah, it looks as though it should be a positive end of the year at the moment. Once again, unforeseen things can crop up, but
Yep.
Aussie dollar, it's still hovering just below 65. It's probably holding up reasonably well at the moment, considering what's happening offshore and domestically.
Exactly. There's no, well, I suppose one of its saving graces, there doesn't look like there's any chance of any form of rate cut for the RBA before the first line in the sand would be May, and even they're saying, well, that may not happen, it may be well into winter. So there's the first side, and inflation's ticking up. So I think that Aussie dollar probably will stay at this sort of level or go up a little bit. But we've just got to see what happens as far as US dollar in the next period leading up into Christmas, because it's been very, very strong and it's just evaporated a bit of that hot air.
Yeah, for sure. We look at other currencies to the US. Once again, all those three, Aussie, New Zealand and Canadian, all underperformed significantly.
Commodity currencies, they've been massively sold off since really the start of October, and I don't know whether we've seen the bottom yet, because if you're looking at the likes of the loonie, they've given a big rate cut, so have the Kiwis. We're yet to do anything, but it looks like there'll be, have a look at that Kiwi dollar. That's really been capitulated. Everyone was short Kiwi and they've made a fortune.
Yeah, it's a huge move, that's for sure. So looking at China v Australia, obviously China's a huge part of what happens here.
Yeah.
The GDP numbers there, China, it has come off, but it's sort of come off slowly in comparison. The Australian GDP there has been down quite a bit the last few quarters.
Yes, exactly. Well, they re-stimulated, and as you know, I think they came out Friday or so, but it's going to be, again, how does that wash over the next month or two? We're going to see, again, major stimulus needed to prop the Chinese economy up come 2025. President Trump came out and said, as far as the BRIC nations, and as you know, they're one of the foundation members, Russia, Brazil, India, China, there's only one currency, and that's US dollar. So, you can play around with whatever you want to play around, but you're going to be really hit with sanctions, tariffs, if you go against the mighty dollar.
Yeah, and I guess it's unsure, the Chinese stimulus, how long it can last before it just sort of fades again.
Yeah, the stock market's performed very, very well over the last couple of months. It's been one-way traffic. I know it's given a bit of hot air, but 4,100 down to 3,800 evaporated a little bit out, but it was extraordinary. They had 25% moves in a month.
Yeah, it's huge. Look at the Chinese PMIs coming out this week as well. So we're a couple of months now above 50. So are there some green shoots there, which you'd sort of think from a manufacturing perspective, potentially yes, but there's just still so many other issues in the economy there, which just struggling.
Well, yeah, you need strong global demand, and their internal engine needs to be really fired up. Will it happen? Massive unemployment they've got with youth. I think it's around 10 or 11%. So that's not a good sign. That always creates much hostility on Main Street.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, and once again, look at these rate policies for New Zealand, Australia, and Canada, all heading south. Particularly, as you say, Canada, the economy is not in great shape.
No.
They've already started their rate cutting cycle, and you would think it's going to come off quite a bit more. And once again, the Canadian dollar, extremely weak.
Extremely weak, and I think they're running at around about 6.5 to 7% unemployment. Trudeau's trying to shore up as much support from President Trump as he can. He's got a 25% tariff to look at. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
So he's got to...
I think it's 10% to start with, but it could go to 25% if he doesn't play ball as far as immigrants coming over the border and drugs and all this sort of stuff. So he's really got his hands full, and he's got very weak support from the electoral base.
Yeah, for sure. Finally, just looking at stock markets in November, the Russell, the small to mid caps.
Have a look at it.
What a standout. Now, once again, I think that it probably had lagged the largest stocks for quite some time, but still a 10% plus in a month. Big move.
Absolutely, and everyone's saying that it could maintain that momentum leading into Christmas, because it was so, as you said, undervalued. It was just held underwater, and all of a sudden it's off to the races, and they're really going to be a big beneficiary come from a Trump administration standpoint. the big companies, sure, but the small to medium enterprises, that's where Trump really aligns himself with. And I think that the Russell's really got some great legs ahead of it over the next quarter or two.
Yeah, well, it could be a strong end of the year, not only for the Russell, but for the S&P, etc. as well. So
yeah, NASDAQ was up nearly 1% overnight. You've got the Dow Jones cranked through nearly 44, and S&P's through 6,000 now. And NASDAQ, the way it's going, is 20,000 the new handle.
Yeah, and I think at the moment, it's quite positive out there at the moment. There's now that the election's out of the way. Obviously, the new administration has to come in next year, but you would sort of think, at least until the end of the year, there's probably nothing there that would probably surprise the markets at the moment.
Well, Friday night NFP, non-farm payrolls, we're going to see how that drops. We're going to see Wednesday night, as far our time, Fed Chair Powell and what his commentary is, and whether the Fed's going to do a rate cut. Though they're saying now it's about a 39% probability that he won't see a cut in December or January. So that's, the tide seems to be turning a little bit.
Yeah. But once again, does the market take that as a good thing in that the economy is strong?
Yeah, it could well do.
Yeah.
But if you look at all of our recordings over the year, we're always, it's going to be a rate cut, September. Then it was pushed to October. Then, we won't get one in November because of the election. Now December's, it's all baked in. Well, maybe it's not as baked in as what we think. The power could be a bit, shaky on the stove.
Yeah. See how we go. All right, we'll keep an eye on things, and I'll catch up again next week.
See you, Andrew.
Right, thanks, Pete. And that's the XM.com weekly market update.